Hello, it's morning here in Chicago, Illinois. It's like 10:40 a.m. I'd like to share a little bit about what's on my mind. I'll show you my surroundings here instead of myself today. Um, I am watching Jesus, who is on earth now, talk about the quote that he spoke in the first century, which is recorded in the Bible as John 14:12, I believe. And the quote is basically the following: "These things you shall do and more. The works that I do, you shall also do, if you believe in me, and greater works even." So that's a pretty remarkable statement. Jesus was one of the most amazing figures in history. And it's no wonder that he still has such a wide influence. For such a man to suggest that we ourselves, everyone besides him, can also do the same works that he has done, and even greater works, of greater significance, or works that are even more marvelous, perhaps. I don't know what words I can use here, but that's a pretty amazing thing. I feel I'm a bit redundant, but whatever. Anyway, it's pretty extraordinary. Let's put it that way. Now, that truth is a truth that I have always personally striven for. And I find many of my fellow Christians never mentioning that. Like, never. I don't want to be judgmental here. I don't feel I'm being judgmental. So if you feel judged by what I'm saying, please reconsider. But people don't consider that. These things you shall do and more. These things you shall do and greater. The works that I have done, you shall do also, and greater works. How can he say that? To me, this is the flaw of adopting the false belief that Jesus is God. Adopting the false belief that Jesus is God puts you in a position of eternal subservience to this figure, this person who walked the earth, who you have now given the status of God. God, the creator of the heavens and earth. God, the creator of all the processes that you see continually working around you. You have now equated a man on earth who was born on earth, who walked the earth, who, I almost got a little maybe callous and rude, but let me just say it. Jesus has a penis, okay? And he used that penis. I'm not trying to be lascivious here. I'm just saying, like, God gave him that organ for a reason. We have our own sexual organs for a reason. It's not to damage each other, but it's to use in love, in a sexual relationship with our soulmate. What's the word? Where you allow it, where it's not, I forget the word now, a consensual relationship, that's what I was going to say. But people lose this fact. People think that Jesus or God somehow was made man, or God, on the one hand, God made this figure Jesus in order that Jesus would come to die. So God was made flesh in order that for whatever process, God invented a process by which one man could come to the earth, and then die to save everyone else of their sins. And yet this man was always somehow in God, of God, eternally present, even present at the birth of the world, at the creation of the world. So which is it? If Adam and Eve never did fall, let's say they didn't fall, and we didn't have this horrible history of fallen man, what would then be the purpose of Jesus? Jesus would never conceptually have to come to the earth to die for the sins of man. There's a lot of problems with the idea that Jesus is God, that Jesus is this deity. I would like to implore you to reconsider that idea. And one of the greatest problems, perhaps the greatest problem that I see in holding that false belief, is that you don't believe you can do what Jesus did. You set him apart from yourself. You now minimize your potential. So I'm kind of pausing here because I really want to set that, I really want to emphasize that. You minimize your potential. And I think that's a horrible thing. A lot of people, when they think about the kingdom of heaven, they think about, running around with the elephants and the lions and the rhinoceroses and having a grand old time, eating the fruits of the eternal garden. But I think of not just those wonderful things, but I think of teleportation. I think of telekinesis. I think of telepathy, as long as we're on the teles. I think of flying. I think of healing people, healing others and myself. And I'm sure there are things that I have not even yet considered that I can do. And it's wonderful to consider that there are some beautiful things that I can be involved in, some beautiful things that I can do and create. So that's what the kingdom of heaven is to me. It's this endless possibility. What is the potential of man? What is the potential of myself? I'd like to experience that potential. And I can only do that because, well, I can't say that I can only do it, but because I don't hold that false belief. But it definitely helps that I don't have this false belief that Jesus is part of the triune Godhead. So I know I harp on this subject a lot, but I think it's fairly important. And if you have not hitherto considered this, I hope you will. I hope this has encouraged you. Thank you for watching.